Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Gulizara, here to bring a newspaper breakdown session courtesy of the KIF CSS network. I hope that this video reaches you in good health and spirits. Now the year 2020 has been an year of upheaval for almost everyone across the globe. Ranging from a pandemic, mass misinformation campaigns and geopolitical upheavals, this year does not seem to stop. It is kind of a gift that keeps on giving, except that we do not need this gift anymore. So, what we are going to be discussing today is the repercussions of the digital age, especially concerning the year 2020. In 2020, the development of new technology will continue to accelerate at an exponential rate. Not only that, these technologies will continue to arrive well ahead of the regulations and standards that are required to govern them. Now, the capacity of digital advancement has changed the fabric of the world at an unprecedented rate. We know that the world was brought closer because of telegram, later on because of radios, because of televisions, and now because of social media and its resultant repercussions. Now, on one hand, it has resulted in e-commerce. It has resulted in people being closer together. It has enabled people to have a voice of their own. It has enabled people to document injustices committed against them. It has enabled people to be financially independent. Like, for example, I came across a video recently of a woman who lives in southern Punjab and she has been earning handsomely from YouTube. These are one of the aspects of the digital age. But on the other hand, its dark side has the capacity to create massive shifts in global geopolitics and also create a pathway to disrupt human rights and make sure that they are not as widely promulgated as they could be. Now, we know that social media has become a powerful force for dissent, for raising voice against injustice, for documenting injustice. But do we know that it has also become a powerful force for political and cultural change? Let me give you a very relevant example. A very specific trend called the cancel culture has seen a lot of celebrities, has seen a lot of politicians being bought out in the open because of their nefarious activities. People like Jeffrey Epstein, people like their accomplices, Mrs. Maxwell, for example, they were all brought from the darkness into the limelight because of the fact of social media. Their injustices and the fact that they were involved in child pornography rings was brought forward, and Jeffrey Epstein died in prison, but his accomplices are now facing the repercussions, and that is because of social media. But on the other side, on the flip side, social media is also a very pertinent output or a very pertinent lucrative trade for child pornography and sex trafficking. Not only that, social media has resulted in a lot of changes in how information is perceived and how information is generated. We have very pertinent examples like the Qatar blockade, the Arab Spring, violence against religious and ethnic minorities, and the US 2016 elections, which were evident of election tampering. This is called as digital disruption. When information or misinformation is generated in such a way as to create an imbalance of opinion on within the masses and to control the spread of information, this is, as I've said before, digital disruption. There are three trends of the expanding digital disruption, and they have the capacity to change the world. They have the capacity to create geopolitical upheavals, and they have the capacity to control the global arena as is. So number one, the first trend is the ability of non-state actors or a few individuals to use new technologies to wield influence or shift political outcomes on a large scale. We all know what happened during the 2016 US elections. We also know what happened when a hacker group which goes by the name of Anonymous was the one that has brought about the downfall of child pornography rings. Not only that, individuals on their own within their own social media platform now have the capacity to generate outcome, to generate a scenario with where they can openly and blatantly use their inherent racism, they can use their xenophobia, they can use their populist narratives to create an environment of their own opinions. So ये बात वाज़ेह रहे कि सोशल मीडिया सिर्फ और सिर्फ लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्शन करने का तरीक़ाकार नहीं है. सोशल मीडिया ऑल्सो हैज़ द कैपेसिटी टू चेंज द थिंकिंग ऑफ अ स्टेट, टू चेंज द थिंकिंग ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल. अभी इन पाकिस्तान वी नो दैट a lot of people have been accused of blasphemy on Twitter just with the proof of screenshots. Now, this is disturbing in the extreme. Not only that, there are mass misinformation campaigns not only in Pakistan but all across the world. And the fact of the matter remains that कि पहले जब आपके पास social media इतना prevalent नहीं था, when no one had access to Twitter or Facebook or WhatsApp, what we used to see was that a few people, a select group of people, hackers for example, they were the ones that were the driving force behind this, behind mass misinformation, behind changing people's mindsets. But as of right now, each and every person in his own individual capacity has now become an analyst, has now become a purveyor of news, has now become a purveyor of options, of opinions. This is dangerous. जैसे anarchy होती है, where every man is out for himself, in the same way, irresponsible use of social media is the driving force behind a lot of what is wrong in the world. अब जैसे कि हम लोग जो है वो बिकॉज ऑफ द कोरोना वायरस पेंडेमिक, आप ये देख सकते हैं कि दिस इफेक्ट ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, ऑफ mass misinformation, of xenophobic narratives, of racism was blatantly expressed during the coronavirus pandemic, not only in Pakistan but all across the world. And not only that, the Black Lives Matter movement that gained traction because of social media. As I said before, that the Arab Spring and revolutions across the world, they have the capacity, they were the ones that were driven by social media. In the same way, as of right now, narratives that are against basic human rights are also being driven by social media, and as of right now, there is no way that we can curtail them or control them. Number 2, the second trend is authoritarian governments using new technologies or simply restricting access to the internet to repress human rights, squash dissent and discredit political opponents. इसकी एक बड़ी सिंपल सी आपको एग्जांपल देते हैं. You all know that Kashmir has been under an internet blackout for almost an year now, more than a year now. And ये इंटरनेट जो है, इंटरनेट आप समझे कि जो एक्सेस है ये स्पोरेटिकली लिफ्ट अप किया जाता रहा है to stop anything escaping from Kashmir. So you see, repression of narratives, repression of voices is a prime source of you can say political heavy-handedness. इसी तरह Joseph Kabila, who was the president of Congo for the better part of a decade, जब उनके elections आए in 2019, तो better parts of the Congo, they were shut off because of the elections. They were shut off from internet access to prevent any kind of political you can say political campaigning by his opponents. In the same way, अभी recently जो US presidential race है between Democratic hopeful Joe Biden and US President Donald J. Trump, that is also a prime example of how each party is using the social media to gain control over the masses. जैसे कि प्रेसिडेंट डोनाल्ड जे ट्रम्प की persistent hyping of hydroxychloroquine, in the same way his support of the QAnon theorist, which is basically a conspiracy group, ठीक है. In the same way he has been discrediting the Black Lives Matter movement. His Twitter account is extremely active, and believe it or not, Twitter के ऊपर जो narratives हैं, they have now started making headlines. Now the question begs that is there any chance that आपके पास जो political campaigning है, is that transparent? No, it's not. एक technology है which is called as deepfakes. It is AI generated computer imagery, AI generated images, AI generated videos that are very hard to disprove. जो artificial intelligence है वो ये deepfakes generate करती हैं, and they are so realistic that they are able to mislead the masses to a huge extent. So as I said before, कि social media platforms need to be much more responsible when it comes to political campaigning. जैसे कि आप ट्विटर ने जो है वो disclaimer जो है वो यूएस प्रेसिडेंट डोनाल्ड जे ट्रम्प के ट्विटर अकाउंट के साथ लगाना शुरू कर दिए, जिसके अंदर वो बार बार यही कहते हैं कि this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, this is political campaigning, this is fake. Facebook was taken to task 2 years back by US House of Representatives, Democratic US House of Representatives from New York, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who repeatedly questioned Mark Zuckerberg that he was privy to disinformation, he was privy to misinformation, he was privy to a mass misinformation campaign on Facebook that resulted in a widespread tampering of the US 2016 general elections. Now, number 3, state actors using new technologies to spread disinformation to discredit political opponents. We have already discussed that bury opposing views and influence foreign affairs with regularity. ये पहली दो बातें तो हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. जो थर्ड पॉइंट है इसका, influence foreign affairs with regularity. इसके ऊपर बहुत pertinent example है the US and China standoff during the coronavirus pandemic. US President Donald J. Trump and his media cells continuous labeling of the coronavirus as a Chinese flu, creating a lot of other factors except their own incompetence for the coronavirus spread, trying to hold China accountable, and as a result also withdrawing their support from the WHO. And China, vice versa, had started a huge media campaign exploiting China's own soft power. And as of right now, China is markedly more successful in its bid towards hegemony over the information narrative. There are a lot of conspiracy theories regarding the Wuhan virus. Okay, there are a lot of conspiracy theories regarding what US President Donald J. Trump thinks about the Wuhan virus, and इसको वुहान वायरस लेबल किया गया, इसको कोरोना वायरस के बजाय बहुत सारे और वर्ड्स इस्तेमाल किए गए. And mediums like Twitter, Facebook and WhatsApp, when they're used irresponsibly, they can help shift foreign affairs narratives. जैसे कि हम सब जानते हैं कि इन पाकिस्तान रिसेंटली आपके पास जो एक टर्म यूज किया जाता है व्हाट्सएप यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रेजुएट्स, ये मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन जो है जो कि स्प्रेड की जा रही थी बिकॉज ऑफ द कोरोना वायरस पेंडेमिक, that happened through WhatsApp. Not only that, political narratives, you all have seen the Farhan Work documentary, okay? So if you haven't, I recommend that you see the documentary. It is an extremely important piece of how social media can be used to control the narratives of the people and also project a false or a positive image abroad, thereby skewing geopolitics as well. So in conclusion, I would like to say that the digital age is not stopping. Because the coronavirus pandemic, आपके पास digital जो age है वो that has to accelerate at a rapid pace. Measures have to be put in place to circumvent the spread of another virus. लेकिन because of this, जो accountability है वो कम होती जाएगी. And to take care of this, you can say, very pertinent issue, there needs to be an international regulatory body set up to control and regulate social media and the advancement of digital technology. So this is all for today. I hope that this has been enlightening for you. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.